Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video I'm going to be talking about all of the video editing that I do for my drum covers. So I'll be covering the time alignment, so getting the drums you've recorded with your mics in sync with the camera, and also just showing how to switch in between angles, and yeah, just show you the whole process really. In the last video I covered all of the audio editing side of things, so if you want to know about that, go check that out. Also did a first part showing all of the gear that I use in order to do everything. So yeah, let's jump right in. So the first thing that I start off by doing is transferring the video files off the individual SD cards. So I'm going to start off with the front angle. And instead of transferring this whole file over to the folder on my computer, I'm actually going to trim it now. And that's purely just for saving memory. Because this one's a 21-minute file, so with all the different camera angles all filming for 20 minutes, that ends up taking up a fair bit of space on the computer, and doing it every week, it's just unnecessary footage that I just don't need, so I might as well trim it now. So in the audio side of things, I picked take 4. When doing this, I actually did do a take 5, but I messed it up and deleted it, so I'm going to wind back. Also, I should say, just going up to edit and trim to open up this bar down here. So this will be the end of the 5th take. So I'm going to just wind through, and I always will cut to here when I'm on the laptop, because I know that's in between takes. So that should have been take 5 there. And now going to wind back to the beginning of this one. And yeah, again, on the laptop. And then just press trim. So yeah, I've already trimmed that down now to what should be the 4th take. So I'm now going to do this for all of the individual files, and then I'll come back. So I've transferred all of the files over, and I've saved it in the same folder that I bounced down the audio to. With the GoPros, sometimes they kind of stop recording, but then immediately start recording again around the 17-minute mark. I'm not too sure why, to be honest, but that happens to have happened right in the middle of the take. It's not an issue, but yeah, that's why I've got 2 files for the top and then 2 files for the left angle, just because it created 2 files right in the middle of when I was recording. But yeah, that's all ready to go now. So I'm going to open up Final Cut and then start dragging them in. So I'm into Final Cut now, and I'm going to do File, New Project. And again, I'm going to name it the same as the song title. I got it set at 1080 and 50 frames per second, because that's what the cameras I use are recording at. So the first thing I'm going to want to drag in is the audio. So just drag that in here like so. And I'm going to start off with the front angle. And now I'm going to time align this up. So it might sound more daunting than it actually is. With this song, the first hit is a snare, so it's quite easy to sync up. So I'm going to find the first snare hit on here. And now I'm just going to use the arrow keys to get right in. So it's going to be there. And I'm just going to press B to get the blade out. And I've also got it set so it snaps on to this marker, which is pretty important as well. So now I can cut this off, and I've still got it. It doesn't matter that I've cut off, I can still drag it back. But just for the meantime, I'm going to cut it off. And now I'm going to zoom in a bit, and you can see there, yeah, that's the first hit right there. So again, just going to keep zooming right in. And I'm going to try that, and if not, it might be better there. So I'm going to take the audio off the camera, and then just got the audio that we've already mixed and bounced down. So that looks in time to me. Something that I look out for, which I think is quite a good tip. It might be hard to explain, but checking to see if it's in time, I kind of imagine if there was, like, imagine a snare drum upside down around here. And if it looks more like when I'm lifting the stick up, if it looks kind of as if I'm hitting a invisible snare there, then that means it's out of time. I'll just try and show you what I mean. If I drag it out by a couple of frames, you might see what I mean. It's like I'm hitting a snare up here. Hopefully you know what I mean. But that was the way that I kind of looked at it and imagined if there was a snare there, does it look more like I'm hitting that than the one that I'm actually supposed to be hitting? So I'm pretty sure I moved it out by 3 frames. Yep, so that looks in for me. Cool, so with every file as I add them in, I'm now going to adjust the exposure and saturation. I started getting into color grading, however, I'm not good enough at it yet to properly show you how to do that. To be honest, I'm still learning myself, but something I did for a long time is adjusting the exposure and saturation. So the way that I do it is by pressing Command 7. It opens up this graph here, and I'm going to adjust the exposure to there's kind of like a almost like invisible line around here. So if I drag that down, and I'm also just looking over here to see how it looks. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the highlights, but up at the top. And I think that looks all right. And saturation, you can do it with the shadows, midtones, and highlights. I usually just do it with the master that controls all 3 of them. If you go full, you're just going to turn into an Oompa Loompa. So don't go too overboard with the saturation. And yeah, so you can see it with and without. Just looks a bit better, in my opinion. But yeah, that's in for now. So I'm now going to drag in the top angle because it's a much better demonstration of adjusting the exposure and saturation. For the meantime, I'm not going to timeline this. I'm just going to show you how it looks when adjusting. So again, kind of drag it down to this, almost like you can see where it starts to cut off at the bottom. So go to about there. And then I'm actually going to drag the midtones down a bit. I quite like it to be a little bit dark. And then saturation, I sometimes just boost it all the way up to the top to then come down. And yeah, I'll just show you how it looks. I mean, that just looks so much better. I mean, it literally only takes like 20 seconds to do that. And that already just looks so much better. I mean, in my opinion anyway, you might think otherwise, but I feel like that definitely looks a whole lot better. And it literally takes, 20 seconds. So I'm now going to drag in the second angle. I usually do it like kind of based off height. It's just a way that I remember it. So I'll do the front as the bottom, just as a kind of like a base angle, I guess. And then I'll usually come in with the left. So again, just gonna find that first hit. And I think it's about there. And gonna zoom back. Ooh. And zoom right in again. I think the other one might actually be out by 1. Just gonna double check it. Right, didn't really get much chance to look there. Yeah, that looks into me. And then just going to check that the left one is in as well. Cool, so I'm just going to do the exposure and saturation on this again. And with this, where it's cut in half there, I'm going to just grab the next half, and it should come in perfectly. You shouldn't even lose a frame. So just again, turning the camera audio down. I'm just going to... So you shouldn't see any jump. Or you can see there where this one's got the exposure and saturation modified on it compared to how it was before. A way to just transfer this over is Command C and then Command Shift V, and then you can transfer just the like color effects, and if you've cropped it or anything like that, you can transfer that over as well. Cool. So that's dragging it in and time aligning it. I'm now going to show you just cropping in between the angles. Hopefully my computer doesn't buffer too much. It might do a little bit just because at the moment I'm screen recording as well as audio recording as well as video editing, so, and I'm only doing it on a laptop, so if there is a drop in frames, it's mainly because my computer's going through quite a lot at the moment. But yeah, so I'll start from the beginning. And I usually just pause on the beat. So I'll do it right on the crash. And then I'm going to want to press B to get the blade. And this is pretty important. You want to make sure that you are dragging it from the left or from the right. But make sure you're dragging it from the side and not actually moving the whole clip, because that's going to throw it out of time to what we just synced it up to. Yeah, so that's back in now. So I'm going to, drag it from the side. And it's always going to show you what's on top. So if you want to see, if I had like 4 video files in here and I was starting at the top, I would want to cut the 3 clips, for example, drag all 3 of them out the way so that it could show what's at the bottom. So this should now cut. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and I'm gonna then cut back there. One, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then go back. So, I mean, it's a lot easier with 2 angles. I mean, the method is still the same regardless of how many angles you've got, but it's just a lot more files to cut and drag, so that just takes a bit longer. So yeah, that's time aligning, exposure and saturation, and swapping between cuts. I'm now going to edit the whole video with all of the angles. Again, like in the audio, I'm not going to talk through the whole thing because it's going to take a while. But again, when I get to the end of it, I'll come back and show you what I've done. Cool, so that's all of the editing done. I'm really sorry that I couldn't show you the process sped up, but my laptop could not hack it. I was trying to edit. As soon as I added the 4th file in and started playing it back, it was just so jumpy that it was just so hard to actually edit it at all. So I apologize about that, but my laptop just, couldn't face it really. But yeah, so originally I would have had the 4 files put in here. And again, just a case of, like, imagine there's 4 files here, dragging back to the top. Again, making a cut. If I want to cut down to this angle, I'd cut both the files that were here, drag them out the way. If I wanted to cut to this angle, I would have just cut the top one, moved it out the way, and then it would have showed what's here. So you can see it cuts down to there, back up to the right side, back up to the top, and then it's going to go to the front. But yeah, the only other thing I've added is at the end, just this little screen that I put on the end of all my videos. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of all the video editing. So now we're ready to export it. So go up to the top right, and you can export the master file. However, it is pretty hefty file sizes when you do the master file. Also, when you're uploading to YouTube, YouTube itself will compress the video down to a much smaller file size. So, for example, me uploading this 6.5 gig file, knowing my internet connection is probably going to take about 3 years, and the ultimate file is going to be a lot smaller anyway. So I might as well use this compressor app. It does cost £50, unfortunately, but if you look in the right places, you can get good discount if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. But yeah, using this compressor app makes the file size way smaller, and you're still pretty much getting the same quality. I mean, I can't notice a quality drop. I'm sure there technically is a quality drop, but I think you gotta have a pretty good eye to notice it. It's going to be the same quality as what you would see on YouTube by doing it with the master file anyway. So yeah, just going to export this, and I'm going to save it to that same folder that I initially put the audio in. So I just keep every video's in one folder. So I've got the original audio that we've bounced down, the original camera angles, and now going to have the completed video. So yeah, that's going to share now. It's probably going to take a little while. But yeah, that's it for the video editing, really. Again, I apologize. I couldn't show the whole process. But yeah, like I said, my laptop just couldn't hack it, really. But yeah, the next video I'm just going to show uploading to YouTube, all the little finishing touches, thumbnail, descriptions, titles, and just getting like a shortened clip that I put on Instagram. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful in terms of aligning. I know before I started doing covers, I was kind of worried about how to align the videos with the mics, but it might seem easy to me just because I've been doing it for such a while now. But honestly, like, once you do it once, you'll for sure get the hang of it. So yeah, like I said, I hope this video helped, and thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're new around here. It really helps out and keeps motivating me to do different types of videos and keep on with this channel. But yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you soon.